"You've got 5 minutes before the cops show up," Karen screamed from outside my gate. Her voice was dripping with fake sweetness, but I could hear the venom behind it. I slammed the door shut before she could finish her sentence. My hands were shaking not from fear, but from rage. What she didn't know was that I already had everything on her. The shady emails, the unauthorized fines, even the footage of her stepping onto my property without permission. Karen's little reign of terror as HOA president was about to end, and I was going to make sure she regretted every second of it. I'm Mark Daniels. I've always believed in the American dream, working hard, buying a home, creating a safe place for my family. After years of scraping by, saving every cent, I finally did it. My house wasn't just a house, it was my victory, my legacy. I built everything with my own 2 hands, even the pool in my backyard. That pool wasn't luxury, it was proof of what I'd overcome. And then came Karen, the self-proclaimed protector of the neighborhood, newly elected HOA president, a woman who thought her clipboard gave her divine authority. At first I brushed it off. A few letters here and there about grass height or mailbox alignment. Fine. I mowed the lawn. I adjusted the post. But then it started getting personal. One week she fined me for excessive noise. The next she claimed my garden lights were too bright. When I installed my pool, that's when she lost it. She said it violated aesthetic harmony, whatever that means. There wasn't even a line in the HOA handbook about pools. She just decided it was wrong. Suddenly I was getting letters every other day, formal warnings, fines, threats. She even started walking by my house, clipboard in hand, jotting notes like a cop looking for a reason to make an arrest. The worst part? She started installing cameras. Neighborhood security, she said. But one of those cameras was pointing straight at my driveway, then at my front door. That's when I realized this wasn't about safety. It was about control. I tried talking to her. Big mistake. She smiled like she owned me. "Oh, Mark, don't be so defensive. We just want to keep things uniform." That word uniform still makes my skin crawl. I told her to keep her cameras away from my property, but she just shrugged and said, "If you've got nothing to hide, you've got nothing to worry about." That night I installed my own security system. If Karen wanted to play spy games, fine. 2 can play that game. From then on, I recorded everything. Every letter, every visit, every time she lurked around my fence pretending to check safety compliance. I wasn't paranoid anymore, I was prepared. Still, it wore me down. The constant surveillance, the endless fines, the sideways looks from neighbors who used to wave but now avoided me. I could feel her presence everywhere. Even inside my house, it felt like she was still watching. My wife Jennifer tried to calm me down. "Maybe she's just doing her job," she said softly. But I could tell she was tired, too tired of my anger, tired of the tension. My kids stopped playing outside because they felt weird knowing someone was always watching. One night I snapped. I looked around my living room, my safe space, and realized it didn't feel like mine anymore. I was exhausted. My savings were draining from legal consultations and fines. I told Jennifer maybe we should sell the house, move somewhere without an HOA, somewhere normal. I remember her eyes widening. "Mark, are you serious?" I nodded. "I just don't know how much more I can take." But later that night, when everyone was asleep, I stood by the window and stared at my pool, the one I built with my bare hands. I remembered the blisters, the nights I stayed up finishing tile work, the pride I felt filling it with water for the first time. That pool wasn't just concrete and water. It was me, my effort, my freedom. And that's when it hit me. I wasn't about to let someone like Karen take that from me. Not her, not anyone. So I fought back. I started digging. Through every document, every HOA guideline, every receipt I could find. And that's when I found it, invoices paid from HOA funds to a private contractor for the installation of surveillance cameras, all labeled as security upgrades. But the cameras weren't on common areas, they were pointed at people's homes, mine included. That wasn't just creepy, it was illegal. I called a lawyer who specialized in HOA disputes. I remember him whistling when he saw the invoices. She used HOA money for this. Oh man, that's misuse of funds. You've got her cornered. I felt something I hadn't felt in months, hope. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't overreacting. I was right. And now I had proof. Next step, expose her. I spent days preparing printing emails, organizing timestamps, editing the footage from my cameras that showed her trespassing to adjust one of her own. I reached out to a few neighbors I knew hated her guts but were too scared to say anything. Turns out, I wasn't alone. One woman, Sandra, told me Karen fined her because her flower bed was too colorful. Another guy said she threatened to tow his car because it was parked at a bad angle. Everyone had a story, but no one had dared speak up. Until now. When I suggested we take it to the next HOA meeting, they hesitated. She controls everything, Sandra said. The board's scared of her. I smiled. Not for long. The night of the meeting, I walked in early carrying a thick binder full of evidence. The room was packed. Neighbors chatting nervously, Karen sitting at the head of the table, smug as ever. She saw me and smirked. "Evening, Mark. I hope you came to pay your fines." "Not tonight," I said. "I came to expose you." The room fell quiet. Karen laughed, like I'd just told a bad joke. "Expose me? For what?" "Doing my job." I took a deep breath and plugged in the projector. The first image appeared, one of her invoices marked security upgrades. Then came the footage, Karen herself stepping onto my property, adjusting the camera that pointed directly into my yard. The room gasped. "You've been using HOA funds to spy on residents," I said, my voice steady. "You trespassed on private property. You've issued fraudulent fines and intimidated neighbors for years. And it stops tonight." Karen's face turned pale, then red. "That's not true," she snapped. "Those cameras were for safety. You can't just accuse me." "Oh, I can," I interrupted, "because I have proof." I held up copies of the invoices, emails where she bragged to board members about keeping an eye on certain homeowners, and letters she falsified. The crowd started murmuring. People who'd once defended her now looked horrified. Then something incredible happened. Tom, the neighbor who'd stopped talking to me, stood up. His voice shook, but it was clear. "She fined me for having a basketball hoop in my driveway," he said. "Said it was a distraction to the community. I took it down, but she still charged me. Mark's right. This has to stop." Karen's composure cracked. "Tom, don't you dare." But he wasn't the only one. More neighbors began standing up. One after another, they shared their stories. Unfair fines, threats, even rumors that she'd tampered with HOA votes to keep her position. Every voice added weight to the truth. I looked around the room and saw fear turning into anger, anger turning into resolve. Karen's control was slipping right in front of her eyes. She banged her gavel, shouting over the noise, "This meeting is over. You're all violating HOA protocol." I stepped forward. "No, Karen, the meeting isn't over. Your presidency is." The board members, who'd been silent the whole time, exchanged nervous glances. Then one of them, a quiet man named Richard, spoke. "I think we've heard enough. I motion to remove Karen as president, effective immediately." The room erupted. Hands shot up, voices shouted aye, and within minutes the vote was unanimous. Karen froze. Her eyes darted around the room as if searching for someone to save her, but there was no one left. Her allies had turned their backs. "You can't do this to me," she hissed, grabbing her binder. "I built this HOA." "No," I said quietly. "You poisoned it." She stormed out, slamming the door so hard it echoed. And just like that, the spell she'd cast over the neighborhood broke. The room was silent for a few seconds, then people started clapping, slow at first, then louder. I didn't smile. I didn't feel victorious. I just felt free. The board launched an official investigation the next day. Everything I'd presented, every document, every clip checked out. Karen had indeed misused HOA funds and violated multiple privacy laws. Within weeks, she faced fines, legal action, and a restraining order preventing her from contacting any residents. The woman who once ruled over us with fear was suddenly powerless. Neighbors who used to avoid me now waved again. Some even thanked me for standing up. I didn't see Karen again, though I heard she sold her house and moved away quietly. The cameras came down. The fines stopped. The tension faded. But I didn't celebrate. Because the truth is, this wasn't just about beating Karen. It was about reclaiming what was mine, my home, my peace, my dignity. Some nights I still walk out to the backyard and sit by the pool. The water reflects the porch light, calm and steady. I think about how close I came to giving up to letting fear win. And I realize now, people like Karen thrive because too many of us stay silent. So here's what I learned. Power only works if you let it. Stand up even if your voice shakes. Because sometimes the only way to protect your peace is to fight for it.